Good morning, this is Pascal talking about assessment. The topic was to discuss your best and worst experiences with assessment and then to comment on chapter 22. So to discuss my best and worst, my best experience was actually last semester with my midterm for behavior management. I maybe wasn't as confident going into it as I normally would like to be, but the exam was set up that it felt very fluid, and I left it feeling worried. I was like, either I aced this or I did not do well, because if he was grading by a very strict structure, that could have been a problem. But if he was grading with flexibility and looking for understanding, it was a really good way to do it. And fortunately, he was a good professor, and he was looking for understanding and comprehension and meaning in what we had written and in our answers. And I think that spoke for a lot of our points. And so my first time ever, I got more than 100% on an exam because there was a bonus question. And it was a really wonderful feeling because I worked hard and I really did enjoy that class, to feel like the exam really reflected my knowledge and understanding. And my worst experience was, I've had many experiences of the same thing, but in my first semester in grad school, I took a transitions class, and most of the grade was a sort of a portfolio assessment where there was a big semester-long assignment that was assigned the first week and had different components to it. But it was a group project. So there were different components that were due throughout the semester, kind of relating to different topics as we covered the material. But as I said, it was a group project, and all the components of the final project was responsible for the most of our grade. And I hated that because an assessment should be personal and individual. Assessments should not be based on the work of others. Maybe like assignments or projects or whatever, but work that is responsible, because this class had no exams or anything like that. This really was there was this project, there was a paper, and there was field experience, and that was it. So, and everything that we were assessed on in terms of our understanding comprehension came from this assignment, but it was a group project. And of course, half of the group did not participate or did not participate equally, and they got a really nice fat A because we had to work twice as hard to carry the weight, because with these assignments there's an expectation that the work is more because there's more people working on it. And that never happens. And I think it is wrong and unfair and stupid of teachers to do that. And I think it's lazy. And the justification behind why they keep offering things like this of students have to learn to collaborate, and in the real world nobody's going to care, that's fine. But our grades and our educational careers are resting on these kinds of things, and it's not fair to put us in that position for such big components of our grades. So that was my worst experience. And discussing the book, I really do, despite my previous comment, I really do like portfolio assessments on a personal level. I think they give a very cumulative overview of a student's work and understanding and comprehension, and where they have been and how far they've come as well from beginning to end. I think it's a really good way to assess a student's understanding in a non-threatening way, especially if you do get the opportunity to edit and make revisions. I think that is fantastic, especially going for ELL or special ed. That's a really good way to do it, because progress is important. So just one last thing to comment on the washback effect. Personally, I've never heard the term washback, but I despise teaching to the exams. It's something that I find very frustrating. My view is that if the material is important, you're going to teach it as if it's important, and you should be teaching it in a way that your students are able to absorb it and be able to recall and apply it later on when the test comes. And it does nothing except continue to perpetuate this cycle of students who actually don't learn anything, that they just memorize what they think is going to be on the exam and then forget it the second it's off. And I don't think that's right, especially with English language learners. We see that they are masters of the fake out. They can really like make you believe that they know more than they do, and in exams just they'll be really good at learning like that one specific thing, but that doesn't actually mean, when you talk to them, it doesn't actually mean that there's comprehension. We talk about comprehension checking questions. They might be able to repeat back what seems like correct answers, and then when you actually try to understand, if they understand, they don't. So I think that's honestly, it's just a disservice to students overall. So those are my comments and opinions on assessment and this chapter. Thank you very much.